Everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and tonight we're doing the next episode of Masterchef, and it was about Southern fusion mixed with different Southern fusion cooking, mixed with a country's cooking, like let's say Greece or Italy, and what the contestants had to do is they had a globe and it had holes in it, and each of the holes was a flag, but you couldn't see the flag. You could only see it when you pulled it out, and whatever the contestant pulled out was the country. They had to mix Southern style cooking with that country's kind of fusion cooking, and they call it that country plus Southern fusion. A fusion is a mixture of dishes. And it made it a little difficult for some people, just right off the bat, before you saw anybody cook at all. It made it hard because if they weren't familiar with the cooking, the area, the country, what were they supposed to do?
Yeah, that's what's funny is that most of this challenge in terms of how people screwed up is all because they literally just didn't know about the country's stuff even more. Like, it's not even like their cooking and their technical ability. It's just their knowledge of the country and like what kind of food they have and how to make a good fusion.
Which
So
I don't think it's a reflection on their cooking.
I don't think it's fair at
I
all.
don't either. I don't think it's right.
That they all should have gotten like a little card that came with their flag that said just like a general thing of like Italian food. Italian food is
Tomatoes,
lots of tomato, pasta, stuff like that. Like, like a little card that just gives them somewhere to start. I really think that would have been so much better to do, because it felt like a couple of chefs got gypped and they just got totally cheated out of the episode. I would say a couple of chefs definitely made some big boo-boos.
Well, I bet more than that made boo-boos, but it was people who made worse boo-boos than others.
Yeah, we only got to see, as usual, 3 good, 3 bad.
Yeah, and I don't know.
And I would say, too, that the Spice Queen, she got to sit out of this challenge. I think she could have easily probably cooked all of them. Cooked all of those countries, because she knows how to do the spices.
Yep.
So really, it's too bad that someone else who needed that immunity didn't win that last time. Because it seemed like she could have probably easily done this challenge in her sleep.
Yep.
And
she said she wanted to, too. But
really?
Yeah, but then he said, whoa, you want to give your immunity medal to somebody else? And she's like, oh, no, that's okay.
Well, yeah, that's the smart thing to do, but I really think she could have easily done it.
Yeah.
And stayed there.
I agree.
Especially since you have people who made shrimp rolls with peanut butter gravy.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Ooh. So, in general, Safi, let's first start off with, this was a good challenge idea. I love the challenge idea. It's a lot of fun. It leads to a lot of creativity. Instead of having to replicate some stupid, boring, pretentious dish like egg yolk ravioli or something like that, it's all about creativity, and it's all about the ideas, how they're executed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really liked the episode idea. And I was really liking the episode for about 80% of it, but then came the end. That's all I'll say. But before we get there, Safi, what would you want to do for a fusion? If you had to pick Southern cooking plus something, what would you want to do?
I don't know.
If you're forced to.
The thing is, I don't feel like I'm a good enough or knowledgeable enough chef, cook, to do that. So I am familiar with different countries cooking, just because I've lived in a few different places, and even if it was only briefly. But I don't know. I'd have to really think about it, but I don't feel comfortable doing it because I just don't feel comfortable doing the cooking that I do. I make a few things, but
You make a few
it,
things.
it doesn't mean I can do any kind of fusion.
It was just like for fun, like to say like what I would like to do. Like,
I have no idea. What would you like to do?
well, I already said during the episode I would want to do. For some reason, I think it'd be cool and fun to do a Greek style chicken and waffles.
Oh, yeah. Well, because this was Southern.
Yeah.
So chicken and waffles is a Southern dish.
That's
so
what I
he's
want
talking
to do.
about a Southern fusion of those two cultures. So Greek and Southern. So
and Ethiopia, they said that Ethiopia was the hardest one.
I
don't really think that Ethiopia is that hard. Like,
I don't think so either, because I lived in Tanzania, and that Ethiopia is considered East Africa, and they have similar foods. They use similar foods, and I don't think that would be hard.
for that, I was thinking like it would be fun to do a goat, like a goat dish, but make it like ribs.
Yeah,
Make like a barbecue goat.
I bet they don't
rib
have any goat.
type thing.
Betcha.
And that's what I would want to do if I did Ethiopia plus Southern. And so everyone had their different countries. I really thought that what was the worst one? Like, what would you say would be the hardest one? Because I think that
That's hard to say.
it's hard to say because everyone has their different ideas, and so like people could have their own misguided beliefs, and because they're not informed, they don't have a little card that could tell them just simply like this place has this food.
I mean,
Well,
southern food is like fried or barbecue.
How about China?
Or
China mixed with Southern.
well, I don't
would
think
be
that'd be
difficult.
hard.
Yeah,
You fry
especially that guy,
fried meats.
the guy with the mohawk,
Yeah.
when he did that chicken and waffle Chinese style. And remember, they said, be careful, don't make it too sweet. Why? Because Chinese people don't like dessert.
No, they don't.
So that was a bad choice to make that. And I really think that to do that would be difficult, in my opinion.
Well, he didn't get picked either way.
He was close, I think.
He was in the middle. And I really think it's almost being at a disadvantage being in the middle, I think, because it's not really a reflection of what you did, how well you did. Because they have so many, they only pick 3 of the best.
And we don't get to see the rest.
Which, that's fine, that's probably the easiest. But 3 of the worst. Because we don't really, they did go through, they did do a walk around, and we never, I don't know if they look at every single person's.
No,
They don't.
I don't think so.
Because if they did that walk around, they kind of, even if they looked at a dish and they really looked terrible, they probably could safely say that it wasn't good.
Well, no, when they did the interviews, I don't think they looked at everyone's because, they could only do so much. And that's another thing. I don't know. I still don't like this format where you just have this one challenge that fills up the whole episode. I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like it adds anything. Like, I would expect to see more people's dishes, what more people's dishes turned out in the end. How did they turn out? But instead, it just seems like an extended part 1 of an episode. Like, it doesn't feel like this was an improvement to do that choice. And I would say the easiest food would probably the easiest country would be Israel, because they just copy everything that Palestinians do, because that's their whole MMO is a fake country. And so it would be pretty easy to do their food, and that's why it was surprising that Bowen really screwed up with their country. And it was sad because I really think he's a good chef.
Well, they do too.
And they were biased towards him, so they did as well. And he did this lamb, this rack of lamb, where he didn't put it in the oven early enough.
Why didn't he put it in the oven early enough? What was he doing?
He was doing the garnishes.
Uh-oh.
It's a horrible, horrible time management. Like, he did a terrible job with that, unfortunately. And he knew it, though. He knew it still. And then another one in the bottom three was Shane. And, well, first, let's just be honest, Safi. Dara would have been in the bottom three.
Should have been in the bottom.
If they didn't have a bias towards her. I guarantee it. Because the whole episode, she looked like someone just killed her dog.
Well, she looked like a deer in the headlights.
She just looked like she saw a serial killer abduct someone. Like, she just looked so concerned and so, like, upset about everything. And, like, the entire episode, like, her face never changes. She never has, like, a little smile. She never has, like, a sigh of relief. Like, just the whole episode is just this face of despair. Like, she's an everlasting, like, you know that painting of the Scream?
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the person holding... That's what she looks like the entire 45-minute episodes.
She did. And it's like this every week. She never looks comfortable. I mean, when she was a little girl, she was on the first season of MasterChef Junior. She just would get into what she was doing and just look like she was doing her homework, like she was doing something really intense. But she didn't have this frightened look on her face. Now, when she cooks,
she's terrified.
She's like, oh my God. She doesn't say anything. She just looks terrified. Yeah.
She had
every time. There's no exception. She's not smiling and relaxed and working. She's like, ooh.
She had a breakdown this episode because she realized she wasn't going to be allowed to just cook Asian food for the millionth time.
Yeah.
And so she got Peru. Peru was Southern. And you could tell that it was terrible and that she was having a bad time. And I say it like that. I say it in a funny way because I don't know. We didn't get to see them taste it. We didn't get to see the dish being picked apart with a fork and knife. So I really don't know. But just from the way that she acted, Safi, don't do that. They'd have these like cutaway shots to her every once in a while.
And it was always the same look.
And it's like, they like to fill up lots of extra like cutaway shots with just her face. Like they'll do these really close-up shots of her face and it just fills up the entire screen and with this terror. Like this shrieking terror.
Yeah.
Like she's in some sort of a silent horror movie. And, she's almost like she's there so that she can be like a dramatic camera actor. So she can act dramatic for the camera. But it's unfortunate because it would be nice for her to do good. But it just doesn't seem like she's that versatile at cooking.
No, not at all.
And then Shane, he struggled a lot because he doesn't know Ethiopian food. Why should he? Like, even if he's a 40-year-old Texas man and he's a Texas chef and he has his own restaurant chain and it's like called Shane's Delicious Ribs Roast Place, co-starring Dara or something. Like maybe he could team up with her. Even if he is 40 years old and he has a restaurant chain, he is not going to know what Ethiopian food is. unless he has some sort of a weird night where he wants to experiment, and I don't know, he takes something, he takes some acid, and he's like, wouldn't it be really fun if I made some Ethiopian food? I mean, what the hell is Ethiopian food? Like, that's the type of mindset someone like him would have to be in. And it's nothing against him, but just like, that's a rare food. Like, not a lot of people eat Ethiopian food.
Yeah,
unless they're fucking in Ethiopia.
Well, you have to go to a city.
You have to go to
like
little
Chicago
holes in the walls.
Or New York, where they have.
Does he look like he could fit through a hole in the wall, Safi?
Well, that really doesn't matter. The thing is,
no,
you can't find that food just anywhere. Just here alone where we live.
We can't get Ethiopian food, so
It's
how is that fair?
It's like a desert.
What am I supposed to look up on Wikipedia? I'm a chef, and instead of practicing good cooking, I should go on Wikipedia and say, what is the food that people are going to be least likely want to eat? Like, what's the food people will least want? Oh, Ethiopian food, authentic food from the Spartan people, authentic food from slavery period or something like that. Like,
Marco,
just food that
slaves came from the west coast of Africa.
No, but Safi, you know what I mean, like slave recipes. Like, like just really, really niche cuisine that, like, nobody's going to eat. Nobody's going to request to eat. Ethiopian food, nobody wants it. Nobody even cares about Ethiopian food. They don't know what it is. It's
because
like
there's no way to, unless they look it up and try to cook it, and just by what they read, they really don't know. There's not really a lot of Ethiopian restaurants around. You have to go to, like, California, probably where Marco's big brother lives. They might have an Ethiopian restaurant around. They have
and it'll probably suck. Might. It'll probably suck like all the other restaurants, Safi.
Maybe.
Like all those other restaurants we went to.
Well, maybe we.
Except for the upstairs restaurant, that was the exception.
What about the one in town near the market?
The one in
the
town.
Breakfast. We had breakfast.
That was breakfast food.
Yeah, but that
I didn't even get to have what I wanted to have. I wanted to have chicken fried steak, and they said, we're all out of chicken fried steak. You gotta have pancakes. And I said, shit, fine, I'll have pancakes.
He wasn't like that at all.
And they were...
He was very nice about it. And anyway, the thing is, even a place like that, where they really do have a lot of diverse restaurants, I don't even know if they have an Ethiopian restaurant. The only thing I can think of is in New York City or maybe Chicago.
And the one in New York City is probably just a front for like a sex trafficking ring or something.
Marco, don't say stupid stuff like that.
Well, wouldn't that be the best place to have like a criminal organization? Would be like some sort of a really low-level restaurant that not a lot of people would want to have. Like it's. But anyways, he didn't know what to do. But he still took a chance. He did something pretty interesting. He did chicken fried steak, which is awesome. It's probably, I would say chicken fried steak is the best Southern dish of all time, in my opinion.
I don't know. I've never had it.
Yeah, you have.
No,
You've never had chicken fried steak?
No, I haven't.
What a fucking bold-faced lie, Safi.
No, I have not. It isn't a lie. I've never had chicken fried steak. I've
had it multiple times.
I've had now pork tenderloin, but that's
phenomenal.
a Missouri thing.
And the best thing about it is that it comes with this white gravy. And the white gravy just ties everything together. And so Shane, he did like a coffee chicken fried steak.
Yeah, Ethiopian coffee. So that kind of made sense. I don't know where he got that, but...
I think he did a good job. Like, in general, he had a good idea.
I thought that was a good idea, too.
And it seemed like he was on the right track. and that they were just doing a bait and switch where they made it look like he was doing a bad job, and maybe he would actually get through.
Oh, well, Gordon didn't like the fact that he cut his steak the way he did.
I didn't like it either, because the thing is that you never cut fried food, ever.
Yeah, I don't know. He ought to know that because he is Southern, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, maybe he had a reason for doing it. Like, we don't know. Like, maybe he thought, since it's Ethiopian style.
Well, it's true because we've eaten goat in Tanzania, and it was all in pieces. But it was kind of like stew meat. That's the way it was cut. Or little, even smaller squares than that.
Another fun country to do, I think, would be probably Korean.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
Korean food is a lot of fun, a lot of variety there. And so we'll get to like what they said about him and how they treated him at the end.
Well, I didn't like it either, DeMarco. We'll just say that right now.
It was embarrassing. It's like really, like just completely ruined the episode. And then finally the last bad one was Brie Cheese, and she is just the ultimate, like, I don't know, like sugar cookie. Like the ultimate, like, dull sugar cookie person.
Yeah, she's very. It's like a bad Hallmark movie.
It's like a fake persona. Like she's like covering up for her real self, which is like an alien from Mars or something.
She's not. No, we're not saying she's a bad person because she's not. She seems like a really nice, good person. But I don't think she belongs there.
Safi, I don't think she'd hold the door open for you at Bed Bath and Beyond. So.
I don't think she belongs there. I don't think she's good enough to be there. I really don't.
I don't either, and I said that from the beginning. And in this episode, she made a dish that I would say is a certified kitchen nightmares worthy dish. She got Vietnam. She got, good morning, Vietnam! She got an easy country. Easy. Like, an easy country. Anyone could do Vietnam. You don't know Vietnam?
It's like Chinese food.
But a little different.
Yeah, just a little bit different. Like, they make that soup stuff where I can't think of what it's called, but it's very,
It's very good food.
Yeah, it is.
And I would say it's better than Chinese food in some ways.
Yeah.
And she made spring rolls, but with shrimp in them. And not only that, but on the outside, she made peanut butter gravy. And you know that where she's getting that from, because, you know, she's thinking peanuts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a typical ingredient. But just peanut gravy. Like, it looked like diarrhea. Like, it looks so gross. And the way that she put it on the plate was like she did like a triangle smear. Like a thin triangle smear. So you have to pick up this huge shrimp roll and you have to dip it in this thin little tiny lines of gravy, quote unquote gravy. I mean, gravy, usually you put gravy on top of something. You don't drizzle it on the side. And it looks so thick and gross. It was a certified kitchen nightmares dish.
Well, I don't know. She was thinking like in Africa, parts of Africa, they use peanuts. They call them ground nuts, and make a sauce from that.
I actually did that too.
Yeah, what she
was
did,
good.
It didn't work.
I did.
I don't know what she did, but it didn't work.
I wanted to try and see if I could cook a dish from American Psycho. And one of the dishes that they talked about in that movie was like a peanut butter chicken or something where you have...
don't say peanut butter, you just say peanut.
Yeah, and it had like a peanut butter
sauce
on these chicken legs, and it was actually pretty good.
It has onions.
It had a little bit too much peanut butter, but it was pretty good tasting, and I really, really liked it. And so that's how that's what you could have done, something like that. Maybe you could have done like oh, I don't know. I don't want to give her any ideas because maybe she'll make something even more monstrous.
Well, she didn't get evicted from the episode, so it doesn't
No,
matter.
of course not. And the best ones, of course, you had Christian, and he did a really good job. He's the one who won the best dish of the episode, and his dish looked pretty good. It looked pretty good. I bet it tasted better than it looks since it's Jamaican, and so that's a lot of spices in there. I bet he did a really good job with that.
Tropical.
And then Emily, she was in the top again, and she's just pretty consistently good.
Mm-hmm.
She'll probably win the season. I think.
Know.
She's there's been a couple of times, like especially on Hell's Kitchen, where they've had someone who's just okay, but they bring that person back, and it feels like they want to give that person the title from episode 1, and it feels like she's that person. And then who is the other person again? The first good person?
She won. She got the immunity medal.
No, the immunity was given to Christian.
Oh, I thought she did.
No.
Oh, but
Christian.
she still got up. She went up there. It was another girl, right?
Who was that?
It was the Muslim girl, right?
No, she got it in the last episode. That's why she was already up there.
Oh.
Oh, the black girl. The black girl.
Yeah, the one with the drip hair.
Shelley was in the bottom last episode.
Yeah.
And she was this close to going home. And so it was really impressive to see her go from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
In this episode.
And they all deserve to be there.
And she did a really good job. I just remembered her dish. That was another great dish. So I would actually say Krishna was the best. Hers was the second best. Emily's was the third best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then for the bottom, Bowen, although he really screwed up, they didn't send him home because
the lamb.
they're biased towards him.
Mm-hmm.
And then with Bree, her dish was a disaster. It was a kitchen nightmare, and they didn't send her home because she's not 18. She's older than 18. She's more than legal. And but then Shane, they made a big point. Like, it's not even about the cooking with Shane. They made a big point to say he's 18. Like, did you know that Shane was the youngest contestant? Oh, no. It's like, what is this, fucking Masterchef Junior Season 1 again, where they're, discriminating against the kids based on their ages? Like, this is just some bullshit how they treated Shane, and they sent home Shane, which was a terrible decision. I mean, of all the people to send home, you have Dara, you have Tommy, you have Brie Cheese. You send home Shane because of these minimal flaws, and not really because of the flaws of his dish, but because he's 18. As if when he's 60 years old, he's going to know about Ethiopian food. I guarantee if MasterChef goes to Shane when he's age 60 and they ask him to cook an Ethiopian dish, he's going to be like, no way! And then he's going to go back to making his fucking ribeye steaks and ribs.
Yeah.
So that was a shitty judgment. The whole ending of the episode was shitty. It was a terrible ending of the episode. And it just ruined the whole episode. Like, I thought this is a pretty good episode until they did that, until they became discriminate based on age. So I give this episode a D- because I would give it a B+, but the age discrimination I really don't like.
Well, I'll give it a C- because I thought it was a good idea, but it wasn't fully fleshed out and putting people at a disadvantage. And like you said, if they could have had a card or something. So anyway, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. We welcome your commentary and your sharing your ideas about certain things.
So goodbye, everybody.